About a year ago at this time, the so-called Los Angeles mansion tax took effect. The tax was supposed to raise hundreds of millions of dollars to support homelessness programs, but it was a complete failure, and it's obvious why. The tax really was just a tax on landlords and real estate developers. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News.
ULA is the official name of the measure that created the mansion tax, essentially charging a 4% tax on properties sold for more than $5 million and 5.5% on those sold for more than $10 million. Over the course of its first year, the mansion tax has generated $215 million for affordable housing projects.
All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's going over a topic that I have covered before, and it's the so-called Los Angeles mansion tax. Now, this wasn't really a tax on mansions at all. It was a tax on real estate transfers above a certain dollar threshold. I believe it was everything over $5 million, was subject to this tax. Okay, so people, they think, oh, well, that'll hit all those mansions. Yeah, it will hit those mansions, but what else will it hit? And that's what the problem is. Almost every single piece of commercial real estate in the, in the city is very expensive, so it's going to be hit by this tax, okay? Not only that, but large apartment complexes where hundreds of people live, they're going to be hit by this tax when they are sold as well, okay? So that means that the tax will be, the cost of the tax will be passed on to the tenants, meaning that rents will be higher. But that's not the only thing, right? A lot of the real estate developers and investors, they just decided, hey, we don't even want to do business here. We don't want to be subject to this tax that will cost us hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So we're just going to not sell our properties, right? And so the projected revenue that they had, well, it just didn't happen, okay? It just didn't happen. It wasn't even close. It was a small fraction of the number of transfers that they expected to happen. So yeah, they didn't think about human psychology, what the effect of this tax being in place would do to the real estate market. And so it hurt it. It hurt it very badly, and it makes it very difficult for property development. It makes it very difficult for landlords. It's not a good thing. I'm not a believer in using taxes to pay for these social welfare programs, because you know what? A report came out recently saying that, hey, California, and I'm talking about the whole state of California, not specifically Los Angeles, but the state of California in the last few years put $20 billion into homelessness programs, yet the number of homeless within the state increased exponentially within the last few years. Now, $20 billion, and they didn't even slow down the rate of growth of the homelessness. In fact, the rate of growth increased. So, it tells you that throwing money at this problem, throwing money at the homelessness issue is not going to solve it, okay? Yet they keep doing stuff like this. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, leave a comment down below, and let me know what you think. Are you surprised that the projections for revenue were way higher than what they actually collected? Are you surprised that the mansion tax is a failure, that it's a complete failure? Okay, the so-called mansion tax. I realize that, yeah, mansions, they do fall under this, but I'd be willing to bet that the majority of the tax revenue is not going to come from mansions within Los Angeles. It's going to come from commercial real estate, okay? And that's the big problem with this whole thing right there, because it disincentivizes development and it disincentivizes people from wanting to buy and sell properties within the city. So, obviously I don't encourage anyone to invest in these types of places, but it is what it is. So anyway, let me get into this article and we can discuss what exactly it says about this whole mansion tax issue. This article is coming from LAist.com, and it says, LA's mansion tax. 1 year in, revenue falls short of projections. All right, let's see what it says. Top line, it's been 1 year since the city of Los Angeles began collecting money from a voter-approved tax on high-priced property sales. The measure's goal was to raise up to $1 billion annually for new affordable housing and tenant protections. So far, results have been mixed. The background. Measure ULA levies a 4% tax on LA properties selling for $5 million or more and a 5.5% tax on properties selling for $10 million or more. So far, revenue generated has come in far below initial projections, raising just $215 million since taking effect in April of 2023. That's a fraction of the $600 million to $1.1 billion voters were originally told the tax could yield. And they get these measures passed by saying, they appeal to people's basically jealousy of the very wealthy people. They're like, listen, we're going to hit them rich people hard. We're going to finally tax them. They haven't been paying their fair share, so we're going to hit them with this tax, Excuse me. We're going to hit them with this mansion tax for all them rich snobs up in their mansions. They want people to feel this anger and bitterness towards wealthy people. Instead, people should be like, hey, no, I don't feel bitterness and anger towards those people. I'm actually motivated by them, and it inspires me because it gives me the hope that maybe I can make something of myself as well. There's nothing to be jealous of. You should be motivated by seeing those wealthy people up there. And, instead, they want to play this whole class warfare game. And that's just stupid. It's just stupid. It doesn't work. And we see the results of playing the class welfare game when we look over at these socialist countries where, they don't have these large numbers of upper middle class and upper class people like the U.S. does. The U.S. has the largest population of upper class people, of any country in the entire world. That just shows you right there that there's a huge amount of opportunity in this country for everyone. And the grand majority, you can ask Dave Ramsey. He's the one who did a lot of the research on it, right? The grand majority of people who are wealthy in this country are self-made. The grand majority, over 70% of them. So that means that anybody, you can come from modest means and build your way up. But that's not going to be possible if we play this class warfare game where we, want to drive the wealthy out, where we want to tax everybody to death, where we want to put socialist systems into place. But that's what this is all about. The successes. I don't think there were many, but anyway. Proponents cite a number of positive outcomes from the tax. More than $54 million has been proposed to support the development of 795 affordable housing units. About $24 in rent relief has been paid out to 4,652 tenant households, and funding has helped expand programs to provide legal representation to renters facing eviction. So these are their successes. They said, well, we've proposed 795 unit affordable housing complex. Like, okay, that's that ain't gonna house, even 1% of the number of homeless people in the state of California. Okay, or probably even within LA. $24 in rent relief. Woo wee, that won't even pay a single month rent for any one apartment. Okay, that's a joke. And then providing free lawyer. Yeah, you gave a bunch of lawyers jobs. Yeah, that's really going to provide more affordable housing by giving free attorneys to tenants so they can fight their eviction. That doesn't help provide additional housing. That doesn't get people off the streets, okay? All that does is clogs up the legal system and costs landlords tens of thousands or tens of millions of dollars. The impact on new apartments. It's been dubbed the mansion tax, but it also applies to sales of apartment buildings worth more than $5 million. Some housing policy researchers say the possibility of getting hit with a hefty tax deters lenders from working with developers who already struggle to acquire expensive LA land, cover rising construction costs, and successfully navigate the city's Byzantine approval process. They say that could hurt LA's chances of reaching a state-mandated goal of planning for nearly 500,000 new homes by 2029. Yeah, there's not going to be 500,000 new homes in LA by 2029. That's a complete joke, okay? We all know better than that. And yeah, not just the landlords and developers don't want to build in a place with this stupid tax, but the lenders don't even want to lend to us anyway. So, they're shooting themselves in the foot when they put this sort of thing in place. Like when I look at these laws, I always ask myself, I'm like, I wonder how many actual real estate developers, how many actual landlords, how many people they actually talk to who work in the industry. I don't think they talk to any. I think that the honest truth is that they just pull this stuff out of their butts, and then they say, well, this will turn out great. They'll be fine. They're not going to change the way they act. They're going to continue to build and develop and rent their units and pay all these taxes, and we'll just collect the money, and then the homelessness will be solved. No, it doesn't work that way, okay? We are people, and we react to incentives and disincentives appropriately, okay? And you're disincentivizing the development of new housing, the renting of current property, and you're making it more expensive for those who continue to remain in the business. So the result will be that there's going to be less affordable housing, there's going to be less development, and there's going to be a lot less transfers of the properties that are sitting out there right now. So anyway, I'll put a link to this article in the description down below. Let me know what you think of this whole LA mansion tax issue.